on the channel. Congrats. It's a pretty small channel and we're hidden pretty well. You probably are looking at the title. I did not know what to title this, and I will explain that in a quick intro into this video, because yes, I realize there's a lot going on there. There we go. I think that should be good. Okay, so briefly as possible, I was, between last night and this morning, I had researched a couple different things because I had heard a couple different things in the background in videos as I was going about cleaning and whatnot. If I look around, it's simply to recall, and because I hate staring at a camera or at my own face, so this is what I do. And people who do stare at their own face, I don't think they're being narcissistic. It's just when you converse, usually it's with another person, and so, yeah. All right, so I had heard a few different things, and I looked into this one thing, and I said, oh, interesting. Looked into something else, and oh, that's interesting. And then I said, you know what, we're going to talk about this because I want to know, this is a pattern, and I want to know why it's happening so much. We're going to look into the reptilian quote-unquote delusion and see what's going on there. And as usual, I'm going to bring it back to scripture because, again, this gets wild. And there's a reason that they don't want you to believe in old ancient texts by the Sumerians and the Akkadians, Anunnakis, and even the Bible. So as I was looking up these few things, just this morning, I realized, unfortunately, and by some strange coincidence, they're actually connected. And again, this is how this channel works. This is how my testimony is unfolded. Everything builds, and I kind of, I'm always praying, always talking to God, and I'm like, reveal this to me. How is this all, what am I missing? What connection do I need to see? And so I'm going to try and lead you through kind of how that happened for me. Before we get started, briefly, the first topic, and again, the title's out of order, and that's with a purpose. There's a video floating around. If you go to Shogun Cinema, no affiliation of mine, he doesn't know me, I don't know him, I'm just sub to him. There's a video that was posted to whitehouse.gov.org, whatever it is, I think .gov. Oh, I think he is too, absolutely. I'll get there. I'm gonna go as fast as I can through all this. So now I forgot where I was. I'm sorry, this is why I try not to chat at the same time. Apologies. I totally lost what I was gonna start with. All right, so I was looking into reptilians in the news and in true crime. And of course, I'm connecting this to scripture, to Genesis 6. And I will get there in a minute, but I wanted to know why so many instances, why so many cases, why this is a pattern, why it's in true crime. Just like the Mormons, why are they always in these true crime stories? And keep in mind, if we don't believe that the controllers tell us the truth, then we can't believe them just because it suits our personal bias. That's not how researching the evidence goes. We have to go where the evidence takes us. And so we can't flip-flop and say, well, I believe the government and I believe the controllers today because they agree with my bias today. But tomorrow I disagree with them because they're out away from me. We can't be that way, all right? Now, there's a video floating around. You can check it out on Shogun Cinema. It's of the American flag, but it is grainy. It's like an old retro home video, like a VHS tape. And again, there's a lot here. It's only 3 seconds long, and it has like a ring going off, like TikTok. There's a reason we have these names now. Let Go, Ring, TikTok. There's a reason they're naming things like this. And as I've showed you before, Let Go, it started with Let Go. They were actually like selling babies on there symbolically, and now they're selling storage units, storage containers, cargo containers. So this gets wild, all right? So there's this 3-second video that was uploaded to whitehouse.gov yesterday or the day before of a grainy old, and you know what I think of analog? I think we should be using analog. There's a reason they gave us digital, and people are seeing things on their phone screen that they're not seeing with their eyes. And there's also a reason that the military is still running on analog. And there's a reason they gave us digital. Just remember that. And this all ties together. In the fifth wave, they raise these kids and indoctrinate them that their peers, some of them are aliens, and that they have this infection, and that they can only see it with a specialized set of goggles. After the war, the kids found out that it was the aliens getting them to end each other, and that their fellow, that what they were seeing on the screen was just a basically a video game image that they had put there. This is how they get us to fight with each other, okay? So this video means that I believe that it means a lot of things, but it means that the internet is going to go down soon, that America will be dark for a time. Trust me, the internet will come back up, but it will be much more restricted than it is now. That's why I have so many subjects in this title, is because I want to get through as much of it as possible, as concisely as possible, without it being totally erratic and a mess. Okay, so now that I said that, brief piece on that part of this, because I had to get that out. There's also something else going around, another video. And again, every branch of all this, you have to look at the sources. The source of this video I don't trust for a lot of reasons, but I'm going to tell you about it because, again, I believe they're showing us things and they're mocking things, and certain things they have to show us. So there's this cam footage going around of Area 51, and this guy outside of Area 51 allegedly. Now, they've told us that things don't actually happen at Area 51, that it's actually Broom Lake, that it's actually up here at Wright-Patterson in Ohio, near where I'm at. We've heard all these different things. There's this guy. His name's Nathan. And it was posted, it was cam footage. It was by this channel that all they post now is cam footage. They used to post a lot of different things, but again, I believe they signed on with Antichrist really early on. And it was a channel I was watching, and I really liked these people and the family. And they got big, and as soon as they started getting noticed, somebody came in, offered them money for the channel, and they sold the channel. And you can do that. You can sell your YouTube channel. Please understand that. They can even sell it and still be the face of it. So anyways, they posted this cam footage from the camo guys that work there and guard the facility of this man named Nathan. Now, he had 3 IDs, one from Redstone Arsenal, one from Marshall Space Flight Center, that was for NASA. Allegedly, he's a contractor. Somebody did find him and track him down on LinkedIn, and he has those ID badges. Basically, the camo guys couldn't even say if they were theirs. They tried to say that they were fake, but they were actually showing the whole thing, right, and their conversations, and they couldn't say if they were fake or not. And again, this says a lot about imposters and who is in the camo and behind the masks at this point in time. So he starts telling them that he's there because of a time dilation. Remember that, because a lot of people are saying time's gone fast, time's gone fast. I personally believe we've been on a pause for about 7 years. It's my own opinion. Nobody has to listen to me, whatever. And I'm going to keep going regardless of the trolls and aliens and reptilians lovers in the comment section. Now, that time dilation, as soon as he mentioned that it was a time dilation and it was in regards to the book of Revelation, now he does not have a prior criminal record. He's never been in trouble with the law before. But he did try to get into that base and a different base down in Las Vegas, which I've been talking about a lot. My own personal Diablo, that man that we met that was allegedly the fallen angel, our lives changed, blah, blah, blah. I'm also going to tell you what I think the reptilians really are and how it works. But in order to do that, I have to read you a couple stories. Brief stories about true crime. But let's start at the beginning. The first ever true crime story to include reptilian lizard people. And I asked it to include ancient times. This was called Robert E. Howard's The Shadow Kingdom from 1929. While not a true crime story in modern journalistic sense, it was a fictional work, allegedly, that framed a crime of infiltration and political murder. Check this out and let me know if it sounds familiar. The earliest reptilian crime story, The Shadow Kingdom. Interesting title there. 1929. The plot, it was featured in Weird Tales magazine. King Kull, of Valusia, and it sounds very pagan, very Norse, very fallen angel, a predecessor to Conan, discovers that his kingdom is being secretly infiltrated by, dun dun dun, serpent men. The crime? These reptilian humanoids can disguise themselves as humans to infiltrate high society, commit murders, and control the government using shape-changing and mind control abilities. So David Icke isn't the original. Everybody is parroting. Everybody's plagiarizing and researching, searching again, all right? That wasn't David Icke's material. It's this guy from the Shadow Kingdom in 1929. Howard set this in a fictional lost world, Atlantis or Theria. And that's the connection to iPad Goat 2 that I started researching a little bit last night in regards to the war. So before we get to the true crime stories, because all of these will get their own video eventually. Again, we don't know when the internet's going to shut down. I totally believe that's going to happen very soon. And then it will come back up. We might not even notice it, but I think because of the videos and things they've been putting out that we're going to see it. Because it's not going to work unless they let people know. Like, people have to be in fear of losing it, right? Okay, so where was I? The Theria connection basically is there's also a video floating around of a bunch of crows, and I've been filming crows now for days, like years. And this applies to my personal testimony too. I saw a vision of crows when I met this Diablo person who told me he was a fallen angel. I had a vision of crows flying around, and that's when I totally backed off and was like, wait, there's more happening here than I know. I've got to figure out what's going on here. And that's when I started like really observing people and their actions around me. So the connection to iPad 2, Goat 2, and what we're seeing now, and the lizard people, for whatever reason, I saw a comment under this video that shows a bunch of ravens and crows flying above Tel Aviv in Israel. And it says, us witches know that is the Morrigan and what it means. The Morrigan is a goddess or a deity of Atlantis. That might not be her same name in Atlantis, but Theria and Atlantis are of the same place. The Celtic history also has this 3-personaed goddess or deity. In Norse pagan mythology, I believe she is called Hecate. This is triggering for me because I have a lot in common with the psychology of this deity, and I don't like it. So I'm doing my best here to get through this. So anyways, in each culture, she is represented by being a 3-personed, 3-faced entity. And she is the deity of, you have her in 3 different forms. You have the young maiden, the mother, and the crone in old age. All right, which is called the Morrigan. It's these 3 faces of Hecate. And it is, or the 3 sisters of fate. Like, there's all these different names for them and all these different stories. And I could devote a whole day just to going over that with you, but I won't. She's the goddess, the deity of war, and obviously fertility, because the mother is fertility. Mid-age would be like war, right? And also justice, which is, I guess war can sometimes go hand in hand. War is, a form of justice in its own way. Okay, so now that I got that is how the Reptilians connects to Atlantis. And that is also where you make your fallen angel connection, or your hybrid alien connection, whatever word you want to use that, again, in every culture, they're called something different, but they are the same beings. All right. So now we're going to get to, real quickly as well, in 1888, Helena Blavatsky, the occultist, the one that they tell us to stay away from, she wrote The Secret Doctrine, and it referenced dragon men who once had a mighty civilization on a Lemurian continent, forming the basis for later lost world theories like Atlantis and or Lemuria. Again, different names, same place. Just like America, I believe, is Babylon. Okay, so now we are done with this section. That is the first ever reptilian, right? It was before David Icke, 1929. Like, it don't get much older. And 1888 with Helena Blavatsky. Okay, so now I asked it to tell me all of the different true crime stories regarding reptilians. There's been obviously an extreme uptick in cases like this, whether you want to call it the reptilian delusion. I believe it is an agenda in part. I also believe it is a truth. Now, the truth is that we are not all of mankind. We're not all human. The lie, so that they can make a mockery of it and make the regular folks, oh, there's nothing to see here. The lie is that they're actually reptiles. They're not reptiles. They're just not of mankind. And they have the reptile mentality, meaning they're very base. Everything's about eating, procreating, and feeding these lusts that they have. And I believe that once they possess a person or a bloodline, they then stay in that bloodline. And when they're done with one body, they go to another body. That's key in this one story we're going to go over real quickly. The first person, and I'm going through these in no particular order. Well, the order would be, hold please. That one's a father. This one is the brother. So we have Matthew Coleman, 2021, California and Mexico. A California surf school owner and father, Coleman was charged with ending his two young ones, ages 2 and 10 months, in Mexico with a spearfishing gun. He told FBI agents he was enlightened by QAnon and Illuminati conspiracy theories, specifically believing his wife possessed serpent DNA and had passed it on to their children. He claimed he was saving the world from monsters. This is the AI assessment. We'll jump to an actual article that fleshes that out a little bit, and I'll leave it for you in your own discernment and further research to decide where you want to go with it. Bucky Wolf, 2019, which was, again, 2017, 18, 19, years of catalysts. Seattle, Washington, which is a big one. A 26-year-old Seattle man fatally ended his brother, also by stabbing him. James Wolfe. The names are key as well, because I believe that all these stories are they're all bad actors. They are to tell us something else, and they are to communicate a point to regular folks and say there's nothing to see here, these people are all crazy. But how is it possible that people worldwide are having the same delusions? How is it possible that we see hieroglyphics of these in Sumerians and ancient Egyptian and Babylonian texts? It's just not, it doesn't work that way. And I believe this is also why they're locking the world down, because they don't want people now making these connections with all of these things. And they had no control. While they learned a lot by giving us access to the internet, it's gone off the rails now. This is why even Hillary Clinton, this is why they want to be done. Free speech only goes so far, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the Seattle man, James Wolfe, ended his brother with a 4-foot sword. Upon his arrest, he told police that, quote, God told me he was a lizard, end quote, and that he had witnessed his brother turning into a lizard, along with the detectives who were interrogating him. And again, all this is about getting people to not believe, because people who don't believe kind of have no hope, and people who are hopeless and guilt-ridden or shame-ridden, they are easier to attach to. These entities, these energies are totally parasitic. And so I believe they will, just like the movie The Fallen with Denzel Washington, they will jump from one person to another. But I do believe that the person has to have this bloodline. They have to have something going on there. And I'm getting the ringing in the right ear, which is usually a yes for me. People mock me all the time because of that, but it's the only time it happens is certain things that I'm looking at or talking about. It's not I do have tinnitus, but that's a whole different sound. Okay, so it's also to make people give up because they want your soul. This is why I don't totally, and people will stop watching me for this or whatever, but I don't totally believe in cloned bodies, at least not the way other people do. I believe in, it's going to be weird, I believe in synthetic humans because we see them at Disneyland. android type things, but I do not believe in, and we saw it in the White House recently. Oddly enough, the robot walking next to Melania kind of walked a lot like she did, and I always thought she was a beautiful, classy lady, and I'm not changing that fact. I'm just saying it's very rare for people of that bloodline to allow their mothers to live. Look at Nero. I almost was ended. These beings want you ended. Now, again, I believe there's a couple things going on here. These things can only attach to you if you give them consent and or if you are of their, you're of a hybrid bloodline. And that's a whole different, they have their own spirit that's, they can only possess humans if we allow them to, or if we have a hole in our armor. Anthony Quinn Warner, he's the most prevalent recent years, Nashville, Tennessee. He set off a bomb after warning everyone to get out of the area, which is interesting, in downtown Nashville in front of the Bell AT&T building. Was found, and that has a lot to do with it as well. He's trying to tell you something there, but nobody got it. Was found to have been they travel that way through the airways. That's how they have access to you, is through our devices. That's why there's an uptick in all this stuff, because that's how we allow them access into our homes, into our vessels. This is why I pray, and I include, my meager belongings. So it says that happened on Christmas Day, and he had included a manifesto. He had discussed various conspiracy theories, including lizard people controlling the world, according to the FBI investigators. And again, it's easy for them to say whatever they want when that person is now deceased. You can spin whatever tale you want. They're throwing in the reptilian thing with biblical prophecy to make it all look hokey. You don't actually, they can shapeshift, and they can make you see whatever you're most afraid of. Just like the celebrities also, remember, they always point to everybody else as doing what they're doing. People call them narcissists, but they don't realize these are genuinely people who are possessed or people who have different bloodlines. They don't have a fully human, fully mankind bloodline, genetics. So like the Billy Corgan, for example, he said that he saw a female partner turn into a reptilian when she was excited. There's truth to that. When they are excited, or when you confront them, and they don't like confrontation, they don't like exposure, they have a hard time holding their form, their physical form at that time. And that is when they reveal themselves. And again, I think it's some type of defense mechanism, I don't know. But Billy Corgan, a lot of people think that the person he's talking about is Tila Tequila. Tila Tequila also says she's recently saved, but she has all these conspiracy theories that goes along with that. They're calling the Bible itself, I hope people understand this, a conspiracy theory by saying this. But Billy Corgan accusing, allegedly, Tila Tequila, that's who people think it is. I find it interesting that they put a thumbnail Billy Corgan next to this reptilian alien. What do you notice? They look very similar. They're mocking us in that way. Celebrities are the only ones, people with that bloodline are the only ones allowed to be celebrities. They're the only ones allowed to be on the screen. So Billy Corgan is pointing to somebody else, accusing them of what he himself is. This is what they do all through history. This is why right now, moving into Ukraine after they decimated that place, allegedly, you have one other group going in there and taking their place. And they're going to pretend to be the Ukrainian victims for the next century, they think. We're not going to last that. This ain't going to play out that long. Because whatever they did was not good. Whatever they finally stumbled upon genetically again. Because I believe that the mud floods, we were still recovering from the flood. That wasn't mud flood. That was Noah's flood. Think about it. If there was only Noah saved and 8 others, allegedly, maybe there was a couple more sprinkled on different continents and different cultures, although the Bible is supposed to be for every culture. If there was different people sprinkled about, just a few, it would take you forever. Even if they had high technology, water ruins most electronics. It would take forever to recover from that. I think that the mud floods is still us recovering from Noah's flood. So all of this stuff it all goes together. And as much time as they're saying has passed, it hasn't been that much either. Okay, so you have David Icke they're blaming for this, QAnon overlap, and mental health versus belief. So let's go to Matthew Coleman, the one who allegedly is from California, and he, unfortunately, allegedly, ended his children and his partner with a spear gun. Now, he looks really familiar, and I can't tell you why. I'm not sure. But a lot of them have that look. Now, again, remember, a lot of these ones are, it's very possible he was the one who had the attachment, but he's blaming the wife and the children. Do you see what I mean? Or if he was onto something, they're not going to tell you that, obviously, right? And the other thing is, Christ tells us that we fight against, we don't fight against flesh and blood. Christ never ended anyone. He said to put the swords down. We defeat these beings with the word of truth and by exposing them. They hate exposure. This is why they all ran to the hills when the Native Americans all ganged up and said, we're not taking this anymore from the giants. It's all the same bloodlines. It's all the same genetics. And they hold a grudge. They've been holding, that's why we don't know. We were raised differently. This is why they took us from our families, so we wouldn't know any of this was true. So they could mock the idea of God and aliens. I'm convinced now at this point that my legitimate parents knew. And my mom went away and somebody else came back. And like, they do that. They separate families and they'll change one person, then another. And again, I know that sounds wild, but look at Orlando Bloom. Not Orlando Bloom. Orlando Brown. Sorry, they all have such similar names. Yes, they can do consciousness transfers as well. You can call it possession though, but some people willingly sign on for this. They know what they're getting into. In the Native American cultures called these witches, they were able to shapeshift. So you have the angels, the watchers who fell, taught mankind how to do witchcraft. And what did Native American call witches? Shapeshifters. They taught men and women how to do this, but in exchange, you forfeit your soul. There are certain things you can't come back from. Just like I don't think cannibalism, like willing and knowing cannibalism, I don't think there's any coming back from some of these things. So Matthew Taylor Coleman was arrested in August, I think, of 21. This article, this link is older. This was written in 2022 on April 18th. They love that date. So he was arrested late August 2021, accused of ending his children and his wife. And he ended them allegedly because they had inherited serpent DNA from his wife. According to an FBI criminal complaint obtained by People, this is an article from People, but again, we're looking for breadcrumbs here. We're looking for the bits of like that make our antenna, our spidey senses go ding, ding, ding. We need to look at that, right? So media literacy. The surf instructor allegedly told police, now they live near the ocean and that's key too because the Marine Kingdom is right there. And that is where all the fallen ones went. They're under the water. Like, that's where they are. Tartarus, the abyss. Most things are under the water since the flood. Maybe it was a desert in the time pre-diluvian, but now it's in the ocean. And Christ walked on water because in the hierarchy, he is above the Marine Kingdom, the demonic, the Nephilim, the ones who actually still have flesh and blood. Because God said when you die, there will be nowhere for you to go. This is why you have all these different things they've tried to do with this possession. And if they can't possess you, well then, some of them might want, a prime body that's going to last forever, which I think they just now somehow figured out how to do something. And I think some of the robots look so realistic because they've figured out how to put the chip in a person, and that has the consciousness, if you will, of these other beings. Again, this is my very basic understanding of how some of these sciences could work. So it said he told police that he was motivated by an outlandish conspiracy theory that alien reptilian humanoids are masquerading as people to overthrow humanity. Now, I will say again, since 2018, 2019, I have seen people that I knew my whole life suddenly needed to learn how to speak again. They were using very old vernacular words that we don't use today, phrases that we don't use today. And I also believe that they can't read our minds so much as we are able. All of our gifts, God is giving us a leg up in this time. He is infusing, activating all these gifts that we have the acclamation, we have the ability to grasp onto them and receive them, but usually it takes some time and work and training and discipline. But God is giving us all these gifts of the Holy Spirit, and of course they're going to point again to that, oh, you must be the alien because none of us can do that. Well, mankind still has that connection to source, creator, maker, fabricator of the realm, God, the true God. These beings and the humans that co-signed with them don't have that connection to God anymore. So they piggyback off of us. They get all their good ideas, their best ideas from us. And they use these scripts from television on the news and stuff to scare people, to get that. And it's not so much loose. I don't think they feed on it per se, but we'll get to that later or in another video. Let's see how far this goes. Okay. So it says the revelation shocked and stunned those who knew Coleman, including Abby, who now wonders about what else Coleman might have been thinking. I thought Abby was the wife that he ended. Hold on. That doesn't make any sense. Oh no, he just ended the children. Wow. Wow. She was in danger and didn't even know it, a family friend who has known the couple for several years tells People. But she also knows that he doesn't seem in his right mind, so she believes he was still delusional. You can't hate someone for a delusion, so she still loves him, but she fears him. She doesn't know what his intentions were, but she knows they couldn't have possibly been good. This is why thou shalt not kill. This is not about the physical, man. Don't give them consent. Understand your own sovereignty. The land is the inheritance of mankind. This is why they hate channels like me or people like me that know this, and we try to pass this on. It says, on August 7th, Matthew and Abby were packing for a family trip. Authorities alleged that he abruptly put his two kids, Callio 2 and Roxy 10 months, into his van and drove away from their Santa Barbara home. Abby called police out of concern. According to the FBI's report, she told authorities that she and her husband had not been arguing. There had been no marital strife. She told the cops she did not believe that the children were in any danger. She thought he would return home. But police say he didn't return. He drove to Mexico. 2 days later, authorities allege he took the kids to a ranch. A ranch in Mexico? What ranch did he take them to, pray tell? You see how all this stuff is connected? All of it. But we miss so much because we give our lives to them, and we shouldn't. Why are we serving them? It's their system. We're never going to win. That's why we need to make our own and just operate with each other. But everybody wants to be famous or have like some type of... It doesn't work that way. Like, it's not going to work that way. Sorry, I was... There's an ad playing over there, and it's a story that I was interested in, so I was kind of like, okay. Coleman said visions and signs revealed that his wife was she possessed serpent DNA. Coleman mentioned that he was not sure if his wife was a shapeshifter. And it passed it on to the children. All things were pointing to the idea that his children have corrupted DNA that will spread if something is not done about it. All right, so there's one way we could go with this. We're told in the book of Revelation, and again, I'm not going to pull, you guys can go do your own research. This is already a lot that I'm trying to connect and keep together, and it's a lot for you guys too. So we're told in the book of Revelation, right, that in the end days, women who were pregnant or nursing would have this great woe upon them, this great strife. Most people are taught and assume that it's because you're nursing and you don't want to do that if it's the Great Tribulation. Not quite. Because in the next line, if you read, we're also told because they will give birth to monsters. Some people point to, well, is this radiation poisoning? And there's also information that points to the fact that radiation, like at oh God, that place in Russia. Again, I've got a lot going on upstairs right now. Makes things grow really big. So that's also something to keep in mind, because these are live beings. They are sentient beings with hearts, and they might not have the same compassion and hearts as us, but this is not a physical battle. I do not promote violence in any way. All right. I promote just, if they can't behave themselves, ignoring them or putting them, in their own island, like Tartarus all over again. Anyways, people need to stop coming, we need to understand what we are, who we are, why we're here. And all it took was one generation for them to make us forget that this is our land, right? Okay. So we're told that women will give birth to monstrous beings. And Supernatural, the show, if you've ever watched it, Nephilim, when they are in their mother's womb, when these mixed genetic babies are in their mother's womb, when they're born, it actually ends the mother. Or years later, they decide to end the mother due to insanity, they say. But they're all like this. They all have this need. Nero did heinous things to his mother. I've had heinous things done to me. I'm still here thus far, praise God. That's the only reason I'm still here. But I love my children. Wherever their spirits went, I don't know if God took them. I don't know if they're just asleep in their body. I don't know. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, is we don't know. So don't use this information to do any harm. Just use it to use your own free will appropriately, and to understand your rights are given from above and not by any piece of paper that anybody can view or show you. Now, it's possible that he really thought he was saving humanity if these children grew up into monsters. Understand that all celebrities, all their children, everyone in Hollywood, if you take pictures of them and you match them up to regular folks, they look very large. Taylor Swift, Lana Del Rey, and I love her music, and she's a beautiful woman. She's very tall if you look at her in some of her pictures. And some of them are not pictured a lot for this reason, especially by next to other people. So they are already bigger than we have an understanding of. So know that as well. So it's possible, this is one possibility, that these people believe that their children are going to grow up to be these beings and start wreaking havoc like they did before the flood. And so they are terminating them. That's one way to look at this. Another way to look at it, again, is the one who's actually guilty is pointing the finger at the other one. Kanye West, another one, his daughter is now indoctrinated and inducted into the system. Grew really fast, really, really fast. Donald Trump's son, Barron, very, very large, very tall. A lot of them do not let their mothers get beyond a certain point. So that's also why scripture says that woe to the mothers nursing in that time, because allegedly these Nephilim babies, these mixed babies, have it in for their mothers. Okay, so Abby Coleman had spoken to her husband about the QAnon conspiracy theory, which falsely claims that former President Trump, remember this is from 22, has secretly been battling a cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles at the highest levels of political power and influence. She even traded internet memes about the conspiracies, but her friend says she doesn't subscribe to all of her husband's beliefs. That aged like milk. Because look what we're going through now, and everybody looking at these files. So again, understand there's good guys that are working to reveal these things, and I told you that years ago about RT, about how they showed me. They just let a camera run on the side of one of the streets one day, and they showed all the people, normal people, with headsets on, and there was like 2 or 3 really tall people walking around with towels around their necks, and I'm like, who are those people, and why are they playing that music very loudly? Have you noticed that at most of President Trump's things now, they play that Dixie type of music very loud, the band music? Because music calms the savage beast. These things, music, lavender, vinegar, cilantro, not medical advice. Put all the little breadcrumbs together. Okay, so that aged very badly, because now look at what's going on. It says she does believe some of the same things he believes, and she believes them to this day. What she doesn't believe is in lizard people. Okay, so that's what we have on Matthew Coleman, but I want to make sure that isn't anything. We have something newer from 2025. Oddly enough, when I searched him, I didn't get an AI summary like you sometimes get with most people. I had to go like link by link. So this one says, this is from 2025, November 13th. It says, federal judge orders forced medication. Forced medication, because why? Because that blinds you spiritually. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you you should always discuss these things with a person that you trust who has, credibility and a license to practice. My disclaimers are in the description box. However, I don't know, he has done harm though. So I don't know how I feel about that. What do you guys think? I don't ever want, I don't know what to say about that. Forced medication, like that's just, he's already in jail. He's already in jail. So, you know what I mean? Like, what does it matter now? The damage is done. He's already moved to violence. Why would you medicate him now? See, to me, that just seems like it's more taxpayer money used to medicate him, used to, I don't understand that. And if he is going to testify, don't you want him in that same mind frame as he was then? I don't know. That's weird to me. Okay, so they're going over all of this. It's the same Mercedes Sprinter van. For some reason, they mentioned the kind of van he had in this one. Okay, he says he needed to end his children to protect other people from the monsters that they would become. He is 44, so he's not 33. 44, but not 33. But it was the only course of action that would save the world, he said. Hold, please. Yeah, so there's a lot going on with the Supreme Court because they want to force him to take this medication. He just stares at the wall. That's funny. In late 2022, Coleman started to unravel. He was observed striking. Oh, wait. Quote, now again, they can say whatever they want in jail. I got an odd message from somebody. Real quick story from a couple of years ago on the channel. From somebody, Pia? I think her name was Pia. She was a nanny. She would message me every now and again. And she said, don't go south because in Tennessee, that their jails were run by Nephilim. She said, once they get you in there, they experiment on you in all kind of heinous way. Like, she just went off the chain. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, okay. Which is weird because I always said, my spouse, he was indoctrinated or something when he was arrested because he came out completely different. Completely different in like a day, right? 3 days or something it was. 3 days, 72 hours. So hold please while I get myself comfortable. So take this with a grain of salt, but they say, quote, he was observed stripping naked in his cell and praying to something in the sky. Don't you love that? How you believe in your sky daddy. That's reptilian talk, by the way. They all say that. Standing on the sink and diving into the toilet. Karate chopping the air. And as his condition worsened, he began cutting himself and slamming his head into the ground. Was he doing this to himself? Was this stuff self-inflicted, or is that what they're doing to him now that he's in there? Again, it's so easy to speak for somebody else when they don't have a voice. I watched iPad Go 2 when it came out in 2012. Yep. And I was just making the connection to the 3 women. Everybody always wants to know about the old woman and the one part who is bleeding. The one incarnation, the older incarnation, the crone of Hecate or the Morrigan, is always like when she is seen manifest, she is at a well washing blood out of material. And so those are the 3 women in iPad Go 2. Deleted the video in 2017. Really, I don't doubt that. and re-uploaded it last year. Did they make any changes? I'm sub to them because they put out some interesting stuff. Okay, so they're saying he does all these things. He was treated on an emergency basis with a cocktail of, well, they gave him Special K. They gave him ketamine. I'm not a doctor. We're reading this link. Haldol, ketamine, and other powerful sedatives. After that, despite not receiving any more medication, Coleman's behavior changed dramatically. He now spends his days sitting quietly in his cell, which he keeps neat, clean, and nice. His hygiene is good, but he just won't talk to anybody. He just stares at the wall. He is being held at the United States Medical Center for Federal Prisoners, otherwise known as FedMed, in Missouri. Missouri. The nation's largest and oldest federal prison. Fascinating stuff there. All right, so let's go to the next guy, shall we? The next character on our list. We're going to go to Bucky Wolf. Okay, he goes on to say, and they posted some cryptic video on their channel this year in January, 2 weeks after the Iran war began. Also, if you notice, the music in that video seems to be pretty demonic. It's like, you know, absolutely, the whole thing is meant to be hypnotic. And like the Jesus on the boat with the eye and all that. Very bizarre. Very bizarre. And he's coming out of a mouth. Like, nobody ever points that out. But the hangy thing up at the top, he's like emerging out of a giant mouth. Very strange stuff. Okay, so this next guy, and again, I don't think I have, he looks like the guy, did anyone watch that sci-fi spoof about zombies, Z-World? This Bucky Wolf looks like that kid, that computer kid that everybody loves from all the movies. I don't know what his real name is. His name might have actually been Bucky. I'm going to have to look it up because I can't remember. That is the Antichrist, I think. No, Jesus, yeah. Like, they're trying to make it like, I almost took it as they tried to take Christ's DNA to make this other, yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that to a point. And they want us to think it's the second coming, whether it is or not. What if Christ has been here this whole time and we've had peace, and the only ones that are at war is this talk of war on the screens? What if the Satan short season people are right? Say that 20 times fast, Jen. Yikes. They will most likely fake the second coming. See, I don't know what to say about that. Just like with the aliens, I think what people are trying to get us to do is all about agitation. They want us to lose our souls. I do believe time is short because of all the demonic uptick that we're seeing. I would advise people not to like try to fight any angels, whether they're fallen or good, to not take up arms against, you know, God's angels, like, because you won't win. I wouldn't do that. Okay, so this is Bucky Wolf. And this is from January 9th, 2019, 2 days before my assault and battery by my spouse. Have I heard of absolutely. That is good advice. Thank you. I appreciate that. So this is from BuzzFeed. This says a man allegedly ended his brother with a 4-foot sword. And again, he looks like the guy on Z Nation because he thought he was a lizard person. When officers arrived, they said they found the brother ended with the weapon, quote, still protruding from his dome, from his head. Oy vey. Let's keep going. Let's see what they got to say. And again, he does. Like, he looks like that computer kid from Z Nation. They say he's a proud boy. What does that mean? Proud meaning gay? Like, honestly, I don't know what they're meaning. What is a proud boy? He has a MAGA hat on. A Seattle man allegedly ended his brother by jamming a 4-foot sword through his dome because he thought he was a lizard person. It's a nice Sunday activity with the family. God told me he was a lizard, Bucky Wolf told the 9/11 dispatchers, according to charging documents. Wolf, 26, no, he's not 33, was charged Tuesday. Hold, real quick. There's also a disturbing military connection to this and MK Ultra that I'm not liking either. But again, I believe that these people and I'll show you in the one story, these spirits are jumping, these entities, whatever they are. So he says, God told him he was a lizard. Prosecutors argued he's severely mentally ill. The defendant's actions demonstrate the danger he poses. Daniel Satterberg. A Facebook profile appearing to belong to Bucky Wolf posted often and militantly about Christianity and President Trump. Again, you have that God aspect. They want to put the worst, and it's just not Christianity, it's everybody, every group, right? Because they want us all to hate each other. So, and this is why they're cartoonish too. They do it on purpose. So they make us look, they make Christians look as wicked as possible. They make Muslims into, terrorists. They make Buddhists into strange, demon-riddled people. Like, it never ends, right? So at a certain point, we have to understand, as a species, as one species of mankind, we have a common enemy. And no, it's not aliens. I don't mind what God makes. He can make whatever he wants to make. My problem is the deception. If you live every day in a lie, we can't trust nothing about you. If you're walking around telling us you're a boy, but you're not. If you're walking around telling us you're a human, but you're not. You can't trust anything that person does then. You can't deal with them. Not in business, not in commerce, not in everyday. Are you kidding me? You're going to restart? No, you're not. You're not restarting right now. Like, I've had it with my electronics trying to tell me what to do. So you get the point, though. I am a Christ follower. He is not. But again, I'm a pacifist. Like, I don't believe, this is not how, to me, this is the worst possible example that they could give of a Christian. And that's why they do it. I am not I don't believe in violence. And I also don't believe in, like, coercion, forced conversion and stuff. It doesn't work. You're only going to make enemies. You're not going to make family. So that's not the way to do anything. So I'm not like these people, but, I mean, people are going to judge me however they want to judge me. People are going to say what they want to say. You can't control that. And we shouldn't try to control what people say because we're all given free will. But I do believe we should encourage each other to be on our best behavior when, as much as possible. We benefit that way. We benefit in blessings and gifts and our land and our dealings with each other. Everything, our business, everything benefits when we communicate with each other on a proper level. If this website does not stop. Okay, so Bucky Wolf, he posted often. It says he is a Trump supporter. It says, as well as the baseless QAnon conspiracy theory that PDF-file elites across the globe are conspiring against Trump, who is waging war against them. Some Anon supporters believe the global elites they loathe are, in fact, lizard people. Again, the real Trump man, we ain't seen him since 2019. I don't care what anyone says. He also pledged allegiance to the violent right-winged Proud Boys group, which denied any affiliation. They claimed he was never an actual member. Interesting, right? Anything to make other people, oh, I don't want to be known to be with them. I don't want to hang around with them. I don't want to believe them. I don't want to say things they say because then I'll be like, it's Big Brother. This is government. This is how they control our minds, is with these stories. And they make them as wildly inappropriate as possible so that the everyday person just ignores it and is like, oh, well, I'm not even going to give that the time of day. When again, there's breadcrumbs here. According to authorities, Bucky Wolf appeared to be hallucinating, telling detectives who interviewed him that he could see lizards in the interrogation room. He also claimed to have schizophrenia. Again, did he claim that, or are you saying that? I love how they insert things. He said, end me, I can't live in this reality, is what he said. Bucky Wolf fixated on lizards on Facebook as well. On New Year's Day, he posted a warning about the cabal and the corrupt reptiles up at the top who hoard technology and information for their own. He also warned people not to join the reptilians who have black eyes and sharp teeth. I've seen the black eyes, have you? And the teeth are written about, again, in Revelation. And look around at all the young people. Why are so many young people wearing dentures? What has caused that? All at the same time, all at once. What is going on? Well, one, they want us to ruin God's image. So if they can get us to do it on our own, then by all means, they will. Now, is there anything else we can glean from that story? Is there anything newer? What happened to Bucky Wolf? Let's see if there's anything newer. 2021. And I love how they just disappear the story then. Like, it's everywhere for a brief moment. And the Medium says, Bucky Wolf was a thin, pale, average-looking 26-year-old man. His dark blonde hair was styled into crew cut, shaven at the sides. He was awkward, introverted, and he could not fit in. You gotta love that. He also looks like Golden Boy right down the street from me, who is very, very tall. Again, everyone I have problems with, they're all... And I pray for them every day, all the time. All right, so we looked at Bucky Wolf. Let's get out of there real quick. And we're going to go. Oh, which one? Geez, I don't know which one to go to. Because these are both, like, high-profile cases, these two. And there's more. Like, there's more recently. I'm sure there is more of these cases. But hang on. We'll get there. Okay, I looked at that. And he's still seeking the, like, they still haven't done nothing with his case yet. Okay. So let's go to this cat, shall we? Ugh. The Christmas Day guy that, we just talked about him. And again, this is why I'm on a trail here. I'm following the same. Nashville Christmas Day bomber wanted explosion to, quote, break the reincarnation loop. I would love to read his manifesto. I want to know what his manifesto says. That's fascinating to me. Oh, that's the other kid we got to look up because I have a manifesto from one of these people. I found one. Nashville, Tennessee, the lead, and again, there's Tennessee guys. And that's what that girl told me. She said the Nephilim, they run the jails down there. They're doing experiments on human beings in the Nashville prison system, she told me. I'm going to take a sip of a drink. Hold, please. It's iced tea, but there's only a little bit left, so I'm drinking it out of the carton to save dirtying another cup because I have water too. The lead FBI agent who investigated the Christmas Day 2022 bombing is speaking out publicly for the first time. His reason for setting off the bomb on 2nd Avenue, and then right below there, they do another 2nd Avenue. So this article is full of nothing but 222. And I've told you that's related to the Antichrist, and we found out why yesterday is because the 22 nations or whatever who are on board with this Antichrist WRM system. It's still, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. She said she thinks everything he did was for a reason. The Nashville 911 Center adds backup systems after 2020 Christmas Day bombing knocked out service. Oh, wow. They were actually, and see, that's something else because that's happening everywhere. And again, this is why I want you to understand this is all orchestrated. 911, punch that up and search how many towns or cities in the last 6 months have lost 911 service. Not forever, though. It comes back up. It's coming back up. And I have a theory about data centers, too. I think they're using actual people. I don't know if it's against their will. I don't know if that's what they're doing with these immigrants or the people that they're locking up. But I think that's why it's using that much water is because something in the data centers is alive. Life is water. And people say, oh, it's to cool off transformers. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying I have a sense of how they operate the media now. And it seems to me that they're telling us more than what's at face value there. I think it's going to be like the Snowpiercer in the end where it was the child who was the one running the engine and he was the reason the elites could have their luxury was because this poor orphan child taken from his parents and stripped of his clothes was put in this engine room. I think we're all going to find out something like that, and I don't want to be a part of any of that. So he allegedly made this machine that could see reptilians. And then this girlfriend who wasn't a girlfriend talks about how she went camping with him twice. And the second time that he took this device saying that he could see reptilians. How much you want to bet she was the reptilian he saw? How much you want to bet that encounter is what pushed him over the edge at this other person? because, again, they sign off on this. The reptilian theory itself, the way that it's told, is meant to make a mockery of what's actually happening. And there are people here with different genetic codes because they've been tinkered with by the Watchers that they talk about in the Book of Enoch. They raised us, Generation X, without our actual parents, like orphan trains, so that we could be raised in a society where all this stuff was mocked. Think of us. It's like we're in a bubble of the actual dome, the firmament. We're in our own little bubble, but it's a mental one. And they've raised us to mock all this stuff, to make fun of it, and to bully each other and police each other's thoughts. Hey, what's wrong with you? You must be crazy. Why are you thinking that? You okay today? Did you take your meds? All that stuff. It's all meant to make a mockery of it so people won't believe. And again, in the end, it's all about getting your vessel so that they can have it and your soul, okay? I don't know how to make that any more clear. So I think that she makes it clear, like she says over and over, this Pam Perry, whose late sister dated Warner in high school, said warning signs emerged during a camping trip. Now, it says in the second trip, he put something on the fire that exploded, and it made some type of mini explosion on the fire, because he said you could see reptilians with these. One of those things is vinegar. And people have talked about spraying it in chemtrails. It's not just chemtrails. These beings don't do vinegar. They don't like it. They don't want nothing to do with vinegar. They don't like lavender. I can't even grow a lavender plant in this town. It will not grow. If you ask God to help you, and you read before, you pray before scripture, and you pray before Googling and searching, and again, you can follow the evidence too. Like, we're actually following evidence. It's not... Okay, so this man, we know that he built this thing that you could see it. I'm willing to bet that this woman that he took camping was the reptilian. And again, she would be the demonized one, the one that had the different bloodline, right? One of the 13 Illuminati ruling bloodline families. And everybody has a job, down to the lowest person on the totem pole, maintenance man, whatever you are. They've all got a job. So the next one is a hard one, because the person, again, tells you, Sherry Shriner allegedly ran an online cult. Her last name was Shriner. There's only one picture of her anywhere online. Shriner. Get it? Shriners, Freemasons, all of these groups. The Shriners Swords is on the economy cover, the 2026 Economist cover. There's one for you guys to run with if you do short video bites and sound bites and all that. Most people, they put it together last night as a Mason symbol. It's actually the Shriners. And there was a prophecy from the Prophecy Club, a man from the 80s. He's deceased now. I believe he just passed away in 2017. Who's Ken Parker, maybe? Parkins, who talks about dreaming about the persecution and Shriners, guys with these like curved swords. And they have the red fez hats. And again, this is why they're all happy and cheery on the 3rd of the month, because SpongeBob told us that, because that's when they all meet up. And who runs everything in Bikini Bottom? Gerald, the freaking dolphin, just like they're talking about in Florida now. They're giving nonsense and seeing who's paying attention and who's like making the connections here. SpongeBob is an indoctrinational tool. It reveals a lot that is happening in this world. Most people ignore it, like me at the time when it was in my life. So Barbara Rogers, this one is tough because it happened in PA. It happened in 2017 at the beginning of all this. It's a story that kind of helped me wake up. But again, I think they tell it in reverse. A woman shot and ended her boyfriend, Stephen Mineo, in their apartment, Mineo. Rogers claimed that Mineo, who was a member of an online cult that believed in reptilian humanoids, requested to be ended after he became distressed by his belief that another leader in the cult was a reptilian pretending to be human. Let me teach you about something about consent. Chances are they told him the truth of what was going to happen. He did not say, I do not consent. I'm not down with that. I see what you're doing. like I did, like God told me to do when all this was happening to me. And then he might have said, when he was just stressed in his mind and stuff, he might have said something like, sorry, I'm punching something in here. He might have said something like, oh, just end me now. And they would take that as a legal right to take his life. This is how the demonic works. This is how real witchcraft works, is they coerce your consent and manipulate it out of you. Manipulated consent is not consent. They will get in trouble for it. But I'm telling you now, so you don't allow your consent or free will to be finagled by these people. So we're going to go right here to the day from 2021 and just click on the first thing. Oh, Barbara Rogers also is an actress from all these names, man. They always end up having these strange aliases. Every name, I'm not even kidding, every one of these people, this is why I'm doing just a quick video with all of them. They all lead to their own rabbit holes. They're disturbing. So this one bothers me. And again, you have to also understand that these beings, they obviously, if they are in a body or a vessel, they can heal it. They don't die or whatever. So I want to tell you something. Hold on, let me... There's a pastor too. Now again, remember, these things attach to people of influence. So real quick, I'm just going to tell you, in PA, Barbara Rogers was convicted in Monroe County following a jury trial for ending her partner, her paramour. What's a paramour? That's a strange word to use. Isn't that? That's strange. Stephen Mineo. Mr. Mineo was ended point blank range in the center of his head in the studio apartment the couple shared in Tobyhanna, PA. It says her victim, because of the involvement by the defendant and her victim in an online cult founded by the late Sherry Shriner of Ohio. Indeed, Rogers had claimed to members of the Pocono Mountain Regional Police Department that it was stress brought on by Shriner and her followers' attacks on Rogers, which resulted in the shooting. Shriner had accused Roger of being a reptilian and a witch and had warned Stephen Mineo that his life was in danger. So listen to me. These two women, and lately it's been like that. It's either two men trying to get rid of one woman or two women trying to get rid of one man. They're ganging up on targets this way. I've had it happen with my own situation. This is what they're doing. You can see it with Physics Girl, because for whatever reason, when she married her husband's best friend has been around since day one, and she was very sick. I haven't watched the channel in a long time. Don't know what they did with it. But this is what they're doing. They will use you as a resource until they are done with you in every which way they can. And then that's it. So it's very possible that, again, these two women told him what was coming. They told him. And he chose to not believe, and in some way said, well, you might as well just end me now. You know, people say things that they don't actually mean. Well, these demonized people will take that as consent. And again, I know from my own situations, we're not going to dwell on Sherry Shriner. I've done videos on her. Like, I have a whole playlist about this situation. But I am going to go to a pastor, and I'm going to end this video with this story. And this is the most... Maybe I should have went to the kid and his father too. Okay, so this is Kyle Odom. This is the one where I actually have the manifesto, and he left a list of people in Congress, of politicians that he believes are reptilians. Okay, so the incident. In 2016, Kyle Odom shot a pastor 6 times. That's key. 1 was in the head in a parking lot in Idaho. Idaho is the only place where cannibalism is illegal in the United States, for a wild fact for you. And this is the AI summary, then we'll go to an actual link. The belief. Odom claimed that the pastor was a member of a hidden civilization of Martian, again, anything to make it dramatic, right, and seem sensational so that the normal person isn't, okay, I don't need to know about this. This is just crazy, whatever. Like we used to do with the Star and Inquirer when we were kids. So the belief. Odom claimed that the pastor was a member of a hidden civilization of Martian reptilian shapeshifters who are part of an extraterrestrial conspiracy to enslave humanity. That is mostly true. The manifesto following the incident, Odom released a detailed manifesto outlining his belief system, including a list of people he suspected of being reptilians. Odom was later apprehended and the pastor survived. Check this out. He was shot 22 times. Wow, okay. AI gave us a note here, and I'm just going to read it as it says it. Another more recent incident involved a pastor named Joe Jones in Idaho, who referred allegedly to gay people as, quote, reptilian, end quote, in 2022. That is a separate issue regarding hate speech rather than a shooting incident. People don't understand, when you're demonized, they make you do things that are depraved. Even the demons don't like those physical acts that people do, but they get you to do it because they know that it corrupts you. And then they can use your vessel however they want. Okay, so let's see what links we have, because this is a weird one. Now, he's an ex-Marine, and that's key too, because a lot of targeted individuals, a lot of people who were hip to the surveillance and stuff, the surveillance state, the elf machine, the Jews, all that stuff, are ex-military. So I do believe there's an agenda here, and I'll mention that briefly. But I also believe that there's a verse we need to keep in mind. They present to have godly attributes, but they deny the power thereof. I don't attribute everything that's happening in this time to technology and to the bad guys, because I believe, God is in control, just to make that clear. Okay, so let me find what I put up about this, because this was kind of the case that was the meatiest for me as far as the lore behind everything. And, maybe if you guys want to... You're just going to make nothing work for me. Okay, well, let's just go back in the long way. So let's go. Now, I'm going to Reddit because they always, update these stories, and they have sometimes the most insight and the most clues, like breadcrumbs, as to what's happening. Oh, come on. So basically, because I don't know if my computer wants to work now. This is what happens. Oh, this is how they operate. I did click on something. Are you going to go to it or no? What are you doing? There we go. So Kyle Odom's story where he shot 6.45 hollow points into a pastor that was supposedly reptilian. Check this out. The same pastor survived and went to work 2 weeks later. What do you mean? And what kind of work did he have, do you ask? Well, that's funny. This person was a pastor, and he ended up going back to work, and now he won a political office, guys. He went on to become a lawmaker. He's the newest lawmaker, state capitol legislator. Let's see what it says. This is what I find suspicious, and I'm going to give you a brief theory to end with and let you guys think over and comment. What do you think? If I can get it to give me the facts. Pastor who survived church shooting is Idaho's newest lawmaker. Sometimes the Lord opens doors we do not expect. Remember that verse about wolves in sheep's clothing? What is our clothing as human beings? It is our skin. They wear us like skin suits. That's why they call us containers. Pastor Tim Remington of Coeur d'Alene was appointed by the governor to replace former Republican John Green, who was expelled from the legislature for tax fraud. Or did they just want another one of theirs in a high place? Because you're going to say, Jen, do you agree with this person and what they did? No, not at all. I'm thinking that maybe the kid who did this, because he was in the military, he had something talking to him. Something demonic. Telling him to do this to the pastor, because as soon as that happened to that pastor, And I think this is what happened to a lot of people in 2018. If you want to call it the rapture, call it that. I think at the time of the pastor's spirit leaving his body, the actual demonic, reptilian, whatever you want to call it, serpent thing, spirit, moved from the kid to the pastor, or something entered his body. Because you don't go from being a pastor, now suddenly you're a lawmaker. There's a lot of weird things about this story. He was shot 6 times in the back, once in the dome, and he went to work 2 weeks later. Okay, if he is human, then again, death isn't real and they've lied to all of us. What is actually going on? Why are so many people not aging? And I don't mean just on the screen. You could do whatever with a screen. Everyone's got to quit believing the videos. And the YouTubers who are part of these content farms, like the apartment building near where I live, you got to stop promoting stuff just for money. Do you really want to live in a society that's dumb as dirt? Because that's, faith comes up by hearing. And if we keep repeating...
We begin tonight with Governor Little appointing
it just
a new
never
lawmaker
ends.
to the state.
Do you see how many problems I've had this video? And this is for the reason. So his story, we're going to go back to the Reddit thing. The guy he claimed to be an alien ended up working for the state. He's now a lawmaker. Now, I have his manifesto, and I want to check that out real quick, and then we'll end this video. Oh, this one is Elliot Rogers, and that's a whole different ballgame. My mailbox still doesn't want to work. Oh, there we go. Let me pull up the manifesto of this kid. If I sent it. Kyle Odom. All right. 1 second. I want you guys just to hear a little bit of this. And I can't get to it on my phone because I'm using my phone to stream. Give it to me. Thank you. Document Cloud, man. Both of them are on here. So it's 21 pages. That's what you should know first. And I'm going to do a separate video about the time dilation guy as things unfold, because I want to look for more information. I have a theory on the man himself. You guys just don't, like... All right, where's the list? Give me the list. Hold, please. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They do a lot of this. Okay, so this person says he was shot multiple times, 45 hollow point, once in the dome, 5 in the torso. Also, if you read their manifestos, this guy is sane. He said he wouldn't throw his life away for nothing, but they just wouldn't stop screwing with him. Everything he says about how he encountered them, everything they are capable of, the information is, if not correct, at least consistent with other confirmed abductees. Yeah, because this gets weird. In his manifesto, he says that somebody actually gave him a phone, and this pastor contacted, like they were messing, augmented reality, where they, all these coincidences, and like all of us have been through it. All TIs have been through it. And this Elliot Rogers kid, I hadn't heard of him, but I think he's the kid, he might be the kid that did something to his father. Okay, so he goes on to describe himself. Now it says, he wrote this himself, okay? It says, why did he do it? He says, my life was ruined by an intelligent, he says, real quick. He was born and raised in North Idaho. He grew up in a loving family, joined the Marine Corps after high school. He developed an interest in science, went to school for a degree in biochemistry. I'd be really interested in knowing if he went to Berkeley, because these stories always include Berkeley too. He won numerous scholarships and awards, graduated magna cum laude, then got invited to a prestigious university to work on genetics. There it is. There's our gift. There's our blessing. He was into genetics, and he's telling us that this other guy has alien DNA. Interesting, no? Again, sometimes they, and again, all the stories have bad actors. Okay, so it says, as you can see, I'm pretty smart. I'm also 100% sane. That's what he says. Why did he do it? He says, my life was ruined by an intelligent species of amphibian humanoid from Mars. This is where, again, the mockery. Most of us understand that the planets aren't real in the way that they sell them to us. Nobody's living on Mars. And there are no souls trapped in the moon. I'm pretty sure the moon is a mirror, and that's almost all it is, because we see the reflection of the... Anyway. He says, they were here long before we ever existed. That may be true, but they do not have more rights to the land than us. Do not let them tell you this. Again, they're playing dirty. We need to be as cunning as serpents and as gentle as doves. It's true and it's honest and truthful that the land is ours. They have no right to do these things that they're doing. Their technology is millions of years more advanced than ours. I've seen them do things that defy comprehension. That may be true, but it's God's tech that they are saying is theirs. They have a massive breeding stock of humans. That's sadly true, which they breed and control from birth. Sadly true, all of Gen X. They use these humans to live vicarious lives among us. Some that they breed with their genetics, right? The mixed genetics, so that they can inhabit these bodies. The closest thing you can think of to cloning. They appear to be, except for there's a spirit in this body already, so that's problematic. That's where they're breaking natural law. They appear to be completely normal because they're good at imitating human behavior. Actually, they're terrible at it, or at least the newer ones are, because again, if you know anything about your family and friends, you can pinpoint that they're not the same pretty quickly, most of us. He says the actual Martians live deep underground here and inside of the moon. There's fact mixed with, they're not Martians, and they don't live in the moon. Nobody lives in the moon, except maybe Ed Harris on The Truman Show. They take control of wild human beings and use them as sexual slaves. That's sadly true. Don't believe me? Ask President Obama to take a lie detector test on this one. Lie detector tests aren't admissible in court, and they're not real. They can pass them. That's why they offer to do them all the time. They don't mind doing them, because all you have to do is keep your heart rate good. They tried to take me, but they were unable to control my mind. They've been following me ever since. That's probably true. I tried everything to get my life back. I begged, bargained, and I threatened. You did not try God, my friend, probably. Everything I tried to do was sabotage. Sadly true. And ETI knows that this is what they do. He says, I attempted to end myself twice, but they stopped me both times. Gee, maybe because they had a purpose for you. My last resort was to take actions that would bring this to the public's attention. Read my story to learn what happened to me and why they targeted me. My story. And again, this gets wild. It starts in Moscow, Idaho, spring 2014. He was very stressed due to his heavy course load in 2014. He searched for a way to cope. He discovered meditation. What have I told you about transcendental meditation? You can't empty your mind. And if you do this, bad things will happen. Also, do not attempt astral projection. If you leave your vessel, that's licensed. You're leaving your house open for burglars. Somebody's going to come in there while you're away having this fun. This is why they promote these things. They were doing meditation in my son's school, like the last year. I don't know. I tried to go to the school. I asked my pastor to go to the school with me because of the things they were doing. I asked my spouse to go. It's sad when a small female has more oomph more cojones than some of the males around here. So he discovered meditation. And again, if you're meditating and you get this, because this is what happened to me once, this thing came to me saying it was a woman and it had to merge with me. And if I accepted it, then, I would be fully myself and all this other junk. And all I said was no. And I know that it was somebody else because one of the beings that I live with was sneaking around. It was late at night. It was dark. And right when I said, no, get out and shut the door of my mind, I imagined this in my head, that person tripped and fell. Yes, I'm drinking iced tea out of the carton because I don't want to dirty another dish because I do all the cleaning up because they're all so slovenly. Okay, so meditation is how they got in. Again, I'm not saying all meditation is bad. And if you think that that's what I just said, you're not listening closely enough. It happened one night in February 2014. He left his physical body. I realized I met another being. Once I was in the being's presence, I felt immediately a sense of wrongdoing. It felt like I was being told you shouldn't be here. I instantly conceded, felt guilty, then I began to distance myself from the being. This had an impact on them and seemed to change their mind about me. The moment I began to distance myself from the being, I became overwhelmed by a feeling I can only describe as unconditional love. During this part of the experience, our minds became connected, and I saw that the being was female. I then began to feel the most euphoric, comforting, and blissful feelings I have ever felt. It was incredibly strong. I would imagine that the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, feels similar, but he was doing things without God. He wasn't asking God. Like, we don't know exactly how he meditates, but I would be willing to bet it's the transcendental meditation, and that's not good. I left my mind against my will, and I went about my day. Huh. He eventually gave up on meditation because whatever it was left and he felt profoundly alone. That's how a lot of demonized people will feel too. Even exorcists say the same thing, I think. They get comfortable with it. They're used to it. Some of them pass them down through families. They are fallen angels. And they say, oh, we'll bless you. We'll bless your whole family line. This, that, and another. They teach them about the Mahan vows. You know, if you end the life and you give us a sacrifice, then you'll get all these great things. If you can't tell that the devil came to collect the last several years, I don't know what to tell you. Look at the celebrities. But again, these things have left some of the people that they were in and have gone over. It's like they're all being caught away somewhere, right? It's like they're all being gathered in Gog and Magog, maybe? The remainder, okay, so we're going to go past this. I don't want to read his whole manifesto, but I just want to see. So he's saying everything changed once he started the genetics program, which is weird. The moment I arrived, I could see flaws in every professor's research. My mind was so expanded that I could instantly understand the implications of entire research projects. A lot of people describe this. I will say with my own experiences, certain things in my mind opened up as well, but I have God, and I don't have any more last time or any issues like that. So, yeah, you'll get information. Yeah, you'll get downloads, uploads, whatever you want to call them. But he's doing this stuff without God, and he's in the secular educational system, which means that's all he's around and that they run the system. If he starts telling them that God or the Holy Spirit or whatever gave him downloads of information, they're going to target him. He voiced his concerns to the advisor, and he casually brushed them aside. He told me, just have fun. It'll be fun. That's what everybody told me when all this started. I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun. Like these things. No one else seemed to care, blah, blah, blah. He decided to leave. He couldn't get motivated. The day after he decided to leave, his life became hell. He couldn't sleep and his mind felt stabbed. He was entirely at peace with his decision, so he knew something strange was happening. After a few days of this, 2 of the graduate students reached out to him, blank and blank. I barely knew them, so it seemed unusual that they would contact me. When I went to see them, they both kept pointing their finger at me saying, pew, pew, like they were, you know. They did this over and over, and I kept wondering what their problem was. Months after I left Houston, I was told that blank and blank were not human. They were tasked with making me into, quote, the next school pew-pewer, as they called it, end quote. I imagine this is why many of our school pew-pews take place. Huh. Imagine that, guys. So they targeted him, and they flat out told him what they were going to do. These demons through other people. And they succeeded. Why? Again, because he's doing things of his own power without God, not repenting, not asking for guidance, not closing these doors he opened in his mind. And also, he's not telling them I do not consent. Like, hey, no, that won't happen to me. I don't know why you're saying that, blah, 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 you know, whatever. Just like the Mexican, or this, you know, they're from Mexico, so they're Mexican boys. Over here at the restaurant, bark at me. Like, what do you think it bothers me? Like, I really don't. This is why I tell you to take a pacifist approach. They want people to be baited into action, especially this time. Even some of your favorite YouTubers are trying to agitate. They will blame Masons. They will blame Christians. They'll turn around and blame Muslims. They'll blame Jews. They will blame Asians. Everybody except who's actually responsible. And it is a specific tribe. It is a bloodline. Some may be brown, some may be yellow, some may be pink. Because, again, we talked about the true definition of tribe in yesterday's video. So I'm going to end this one. I'm going to go over his manifesto, and we're going to talk about his and Elliot Rodgers' manifestos and see what some of these cases have in common. Because, again, we're building, and we'll talk about this again. You guys have a great day. I'm going to go have some fun with my dogs. Please pray for me as I pray for you, and let me know what you guys think about all this. And if you find any newer information on cases like this, I'm just curious how they get resolved, so let me know. And somebody took their thumbs up away. Y'all